Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, I've got a wonderful story for you. A tale from deep within a bright green forest. Once upon a time, there lived a tiny mouse with a very big problem. His neighbor was a huge bear who had been hibernating all winter. The issue wasn't just that the bear was asleep, it was that he snored louder than thunder. Every single night, the poor little mouse tossed and turned, his eyes wide open, his tiny ears ringing. He was exhausted. One sunny morning, the mouse decided he'd had enough. He scurried over to the bear's cave and found his neighbor sound asleep. "Mr. Bear! Hey, Mr. Bear!" The mouse squeaked, bravely poking the bear's enormous paw. "Summer has come. You can wake up now, Bet." The bear just snored even louder, a deep rumbling sound that shook the ground. He rolled over in his cave, completely undisturbed. Frustrated, the mouse ran back to his home. He had an idea. He grabbed a shiny bugle he kept for special occasions, took a deep breath, and blew with all his might. Boo-wah! The sound echoed through the trees, birds scattered from the branches, and even the leaves trembled. But the bear, just kept right on snoring, each snore like a mini earthquake. Feeling completely exhausted and hopeless, the mouse wandered sadly through the forest. Soon he ran into his friends. "What's wrong, little mouse? Why do you look so sad?" asked a kind-hearted rabbit. The mouse sighed a heavy sigh. "All winter long, I couldn't sleep because of the bear snoring. Now that spring is here, he still won't wake up. I don't know what to do." A wise deer flicked his ears thoughtfully. "Maybe the lion can help you." "The lion?" The mouse's whiskers twitched with fear. "Why would I ever go talk to him? He's the king of the forest." A squirrel, perched on a branch above, chimed in, "Because the lion's roar is so loud, it makes everyone jump awake in an instant. Anyone can wake that bear, it's him." Shaking but determined, the mouse tiptoed cautiously to the lion's den. The great beast was sleeping soundly, his magnificent golden mane glowing in the sunlight. The mouse's tiny heart pounded in his chest. For a moment, he thought about running back home, but just then snap, a dry twig broke under his paw. Instantly, the lion's golden eyes snapped open. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "What's that noise? What are you doing in front of my cave?" The mouse trembled from his nose to the tip of his tail. "Forgive me, king of the forest. I came to ask for your help." The lion narrowed his eyes, looking down at the tiny creature. "Help! You're not even big enough to be a snack. Why should I help a little pest like you?" The mouse swallowed hard, gathering all his courage. Because only you can wake up my neighbor, the big bear. My tiny voice and my bugle can't do it. But one roar from you, one single roar could solve everything." The lion just snorted, unimpressed. "I don't have time for useless little creatures. I am the king of the forest." He turned his back with a flick of his tail and walked away, leaving the mouse feeling smaller than ever. But later that day, as the mouse was heading home, he heard strange noises coming from a clearing in the forest. Curious, he followed the sound and froze in his tracks. There was the mighty lion, scratching and twisting against a tree. He was rubbing his back and flanks against the rough bark, groaning in frustration. His golden mane shook as he wriggled desperately. The mouse's eyes widened in surprise. "Mr. Lion, what happened to you?" he asked quietly. The lion growled softly, clearly embarrassed. I don't know. I can't stop itching. And you haven't seen or heard anything, mouse. Are we clear?" But the mouse squinted, looking closer at the lion's magnificent fur. And there, hopping and bouncing in the thick golden mane, were dozens of tiny fleas. "Oh, you have fleas," the mouse exclaimed. "Let me help you." The lion roared in disbelief. "You help me. Don't make me laugh. You're just a mouse." But before the lion could shove him away, the little mouse leapt bravely onto his mane and began tossing the fleas out, one by one. The lion jerked and twisted. "What are you doing? Get off me!" He rubbed against a tree again, almost squashing the little mouse. He shook his body so hard that the mouse nearly flew into a nearby lake. Still, the mouse held on tight. "Just a little more. Stay still," he cried out. The lion, itching too badly to care, then leapt into the lake with a huge splash, nearly drowning the tiny mouse. "Mr. Lion, get out or I'll drown," spluttered the mouse, clinging to a strand of wet fur. Finally, the lion dragged himself out of the water, shaking and sending water flying everywhere. But the mouse clung on, refusing to give up. At last, he plucked out the very final flea and shouted with triumph, "Done!" The lion froze. The terrible itching was gone. Completely gone. The mighty beast looked down at the tiny, soaking wet creature on his back. His voice was quiet now and full of surprise. "I was rude to you, and yet you still helped me. Thank you, little mouse." The mouse smiled, shaking the water from his fur. "You're welcome, Mr. Lion. Now, will you help me in return?" The lion nodded, a new respect shining in his golden eyes. "Hop on." Together, they padded through the forest until they reached the bear's cave. Sure enough, the snores rolled out like an earthquake. The lion grinned at the mouse. "You were right, mouse. Summer has come, but your neighbor is still dreaming." He took a deep, powerful breath and let out a roar so mighty that the cave walls shook. Stones tumbled from the ceiling, birds flew into the sky in a panic, and deep inside the cave, the bear jolted awake with a terrified jump. "Whoa, what's happening? Is the world ending? Is it summer already? Where's the sun?" Bear stumbled out of his cave, blinking in the bright light, his fur sticking up all over. The other forest animals, who had gathered to watch, burst into laughter at the sight of the confused, sleepy bear. The mouse beamed with relief. Finally, no more sleepless nights. From that day on, the lion and the mouse shared a special bond of respect. The lion learned that even the smallest creatures can be powerful in their own way. And the little mouse learned that courage and kindness can win over even the fiercest of hearts. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful tales. See you next time.